Hey everybody, welcome back to the Book Cave. So I decided I want to read more Victoria Schwab books since I read Vicious and Vengeful, enjoyed them, then read Gallant and enjoyed that, and then I do have Shades of Magic, but for now I'm going to be reading the Cassidy Blake / City of Ghosts series and doing a little reading vlog, letting you all know what I think about them all. And yeah, so I'm going to bring you all along with me, and I hope you enjoy. So I'm about a third of the way through City of Ghosts, and I actually just started it at work last night. But this is a very, very quick read, very short chapters, and the text, as you can see, is pretty big, lots of space between the lines, and this is shelved in my library as juvenile. I would say it's middle grade, pretty much, and the books are each only 300 pages, so I feel like I'm going to finish this series pretty quick. I am definitely enjoying it. It's got the same very fast-paced writing style as her other books, and the characters I feel like you get to know very quickly, and in this series at least they're very likable. And so right now I am into part 2. So we have Cassidy and her parents have moved on to their first location, which is Scotland, and they're kind of just there for the first day and exploring, and we have what I imagine is going to be one of the main plot points happen, and we have Jacob step in and we get to learn a little more about him. And honestly, I really do find that interesting, Cassidy and Jacob's relationship, and I like the way that they're able to keep their friendship, even though it's such kind of an odd friendship, not just because of the whole ghost thing. Sorry, you hear my puppy moving around in his kennel. Pup, pup, pup. There you go, good boy. But there's also other elements to it that make it kind of different, and yet they're still able to work with that. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be reading more of this tonight and updating you all with that. So I've gotten a little further in City of Ghosts. I'm just over halfway through, and we've now met a new character, Laura, and she's telling Cassidy some things that apparently Cassidy should have known. Jacob should have been able to tell her, and it's been pretty obvious from the way Jacob's acting that he did know them. So this has a pretty good mystery element going on, along with everything else. And yeah, I am really enjoying this, and I still do think I'll be able to finish it tonight, because I'm on page 164 now, and it's honestly not that late. So yeah, I'm going to keep reading, and I will update you when I'm finished this book. I finished City of Ghosts, and I do like the way that you could honestly just stop with this book, because it's a complete story all wrapped up, but then there's definitely still more to it, because you have Cassidy's parents doing their show, The Inspectors, and they're now going to another city. So I do like that as well, that each book is going to take place in a different city. And like the other Victoria Schwab books I've read, It's very fast paced. The writing is very easy to read. And yeah, I did really enjoy this. It is definitely meant for a younger audience, as, you know, some of the like thrills and stuff aren't that big of a thing, and certain things like the fact that Cassidy did drown and was saved, like it's not really gone into a whole lot. I would still say it's better for slightly older readers, you know, maybe like 12, 13, because there is some stuff that I feel like could scare very, like, the younger edge of middle grade. But yeah, this is definitely a fun series. I'll definitely be continuing it and continuing to make this vlog with it. And I will definitely be reading more Victoria Schwab stuff as well. Not that I have a whole lot of hers left, I don't think. So yeah, I will see you with the next book. So I started Tunnel of Bones last night at work, and I got a little bit through it there, and then I read some more. So I'm now about 2/3 of the way through. I will say I do like it, but I don't feel like there's a whole lot more to it than there was to the first book. We're simply transported into Paris now for another episode of Cassidy's Parents' Shows. And of course, Paris, the Tunnel of Bones, that leads to the catacombs. The one thing we do have, we meet a new type of ghost, but as in the first book, we had the Raven, who was a spirit that had to be defeated, and she couldn't be defeated in a way that Cassidy had, like, ready to her, already knew. In this case, we have a poltergeist, and Cassidy does not know how to defeat a poltergeist yet, because this is a type of spirit she had not encountered. And I will say it's still a very fast-paced book, very good writing. I don't really feel like it suffers from second book syndrome, but I also feel like it doesn't add a whole lot to the characters. And I do agree with what one reviewer said, is that we don't really see a whole lot of Cassidy's emotions. I imagine being a 12-year-old girl, it's your summer vacation, and you're going to Scotland, and then to Paris, and, you know, you don't really have a choice in it. And, I mean, I could definitely see a 12-year-old enjoying that, you know, enjoying traveling and seeing the world, but I don't really see either side of it. Like, you know, she's not like, oh, this is so cool, but she's also not like, you know, I wish I was home. So it does feel definitely like maybe she's written a little more mature than what I feel most 12-year-olds would be, which I suppose with her experience of drowning, that, you know, perhaps she would be. So yeah, I will probably finish that, if not today, then tonight, and will update you with my final thoughts. I finished Tunnel of Bones, and I did enjoy that the stakes were different in this book, despite the fact that I felt that the plot was very similar. And I did feel like Adele could have been fleshed out a little more, but she was still a interesting side character to have, and it is kind of fun to have the characters that just kind of randomly pop in. And I'm definitely interested to see what happens with that semi-cliffhanger of an ending. So yeah, I've started book 3 already, but I'm not that far into it, so I will update you all with that one after I get a little further into it. I finished Bridge of Souls, which is the final book in the Cassidy Blake series, and I thought this was as good as the others. It was definitely, again, very fast-paced and had a lot of action going on. And one issue I did have with this installment in particular, I felt like it was overlooked a lot more. When Cassidy pulls the veil and goes through, there were several places in this book especially, she's in the middle of a crowded square and does it. Whereas in the other books, she was in, like, okay, the catacombs, she was around the corner, and she knew it was just her parents, and the guides, and they were all there. So that one made a little more sense. Like I said, this one, it just seemed like there was a lot where she just pulls the veil where anybody could see, and yet nobody reacts. So yeah, this was, again, a good installment. It did have its issues, but, you're not going to find a perfect book, a perfect series, and I thought it was very good and a very interesting conclusion that kind of leaves everything open, and you can kind of imagine more to come, and there could even be more books at some point. It's concluded, but it is left open for that as well. So overall, the Cassidy Blake series was a pretty fun middle grade series. Some parts are a little dark, but I don't really feel like any of the dark parts were gone into in much detail. There was some, but I don't feel like it was enough to warrant a higher rating. One issue I did have throughout the series is that Cassidy does seem a little more mature in some things than a 12-year-old I feel like would be. The whole, we're spending the summer globe hopping, which I could definitely see a 12-year-old enjoying that, but I could also definitely see there being frustration that, I'm not at home able to, go to the movies with my friends, hang out with my friends, ride my bike. I'm basically stuck on this schedule and having to deal with, oh, there's all this filming, so I have to either go with you or stay in the hotel room and not really have anything to do. I don't feel like that was really explored, and I feel like that would be something a 12-year-old would definitely feel. I do like the fact that Cassidy is able to make friends on her journeys. I felt like that was done very well. I will say all 3 books do have very similar plots in that there is some sort of dangerous spirit or entity that for some reason comes after Cassidy, and she then has to defeat it with the help of Jacob and Lauren, and it is kind of very similar throughout the whole books. I do feel like there are enough details changed that this isn't a huge detriment to it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this series if you like semi-spooky books, if you like middle grade spooky books in particular. If you like Victoria Schwab, you will definitely enjoy this. It is her very fast-paced writing style, and the action is, very quick paced. You can get through it very quickly, and yet you don't feel like anything is left out. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. And if you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe. If you like this video, hit the like button, and I will see you next time in the Book Cave.